Welcome, everyone, to the DRS zone. We are shifting down, hitting the apex, and diving deep, really deep, into the Formula One landscape today. And we're focusing not right at the front of the championship battle, but on this real knife-edge tension within one team that's really struggling. Yeah, this is our deep dive into a pretty spectacular, you could say, collision of wills that went down way down the grid at the U.S. Grand Prix. We are looking right at Alpine.
Oh, yes, Alpine.
Where that age-old conflict, between definitive team orders and just raw competitive driver instinct. It just blew up spectacularly.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And look, when a team is fighting for scraps and maybe even for their identity going forward, the usual rules, they kind of change, don't they?
They seem to.
So we're analyzing the sources, digging into what they tell us, that really dramatic confrontation between the Alpine teammates, Franco Colapinto and Pierre Gasly, and also the cold fury, you might call it, from the pit wall afterwards, and the whole high-stakes political game that's playing out for stability, and of course for that crucial 2026 contract.
Right.
Our mission here, really, is to get past the simple, he did this, then he did that, and understand the huge operational pressure, yes, but also the political currents that were likely driving Colapinto'S, well, defiance. Let's unpack this chess match happening back at Enstone.
Okay, let's start with the context then, because context, as always, is absolutely everything here. Alpine, I mean, they are having an absolutely miserable year. Just dreadful.
It's tough to watch, honestly.
They're pretty much stuck rock bottom of the Constructors' Championship. They've got, a paltry 20 points? And every single point scored by Pierre Gasly. That really sets the stage, doesn't it, for just total desperation.
Desperation, yes, and also maybe some brutal clarity inside the team about the hierarchy. I mean, Gasly, he's the proven quantity, isn't he? The consistent force.
Seems like it.
He's got the safe seat. It's confirmed he's the tip of the spear for that critical 2026 regulation change project. He represents their planned future.
But, flip side of the coin, the situation for his teammate? Completely different. Colapinto, he came in, replaced Jack Doohan earlier this season. He's now driven, 13 races since Imola.
That's right, 13 starts for him.
And his points tally, still sitting at 0. That is just enormous weight on his shoulders as we head into these final races.
Huge weight. And here's where the political dynamic gets really fascinating. Because while he's, let's be honest, struggling a bit on track, points-wise anyway, Colapinto seems to have some powerful backing.
Briatore.
We know executive advisor Flavio Briatore has been, quite openly supporting the idea of stability. He previously stated that the best way for Alpine to grow, in his view, is by keeping the same two drivers. He argues that institutional stability is the key, to unlocking future performance.
So Colapinto's got this kind of political lifeline, potentially, but he must know that lifeline could snap if he doesn't start producing results, or at least showing that competitive fire the team presumably needs.
Exactly. He has to prove he deserves the stability that Briatore is pushing for. He needs to show speed, commitment, guts. Even if, maybe especially if, it means clashing sometimes with the operational management side, the side that Steve NIELSEN represents.
Right, the structure versus the instinct.
That pressure cooker atmosphere, I think, goes a long way to explaining what happened in Austin. It wasn't just a simple mistake or misjudgment. You could argue it was an operational choice made under, maximum stress.
Maximum pressure.
The team's running last, basically, but the drivers, they're running for their careers.
Okay, quick pause here. If you happen to be watching this on YouTube, welcome to DRS Zone. And hey, don't forget to hit subscribe for more F1 deep dives like this one. We're about to jump right into the cockpit for, maybe one of the gutsiest moves of the season. So the scene is set, U.S. Grand Prix, Austin. Gasly was running ahead, managing his car, probably nursing it home, but Colapinto was right behind him, and crucially, he was fending off the Sauber of Gabriel Bortoleto.
Yeah, Bortoleto was applying pressure.
And they were fighting for P16 and P17. I mean, miles away from the points, but like you said, every position feels like it matters when you're fighting for that contract, for that future seat.
Absolutely. And for the team, you see, their concern probably wasn't raw pace at that moment. It was management. When you're fighting at the back, you're often running minimum fuel. You're focusing on hitting ERS deployment targets, just nursing components to the flag.
Standard procedure for them back there.
The pit wall's job is often procedural consistency, especially when points are clearly out of reach. Get both cars home safely and legally.
So the pit wall, doing their job, gave that clear procedural instruction over the radio. They told Colapinto, Solo tenemos que mantener nuestras posiciones, por favor.
Just hold position, please.
Yeah, exactly. Just hold position. And the reason the team cited later, explicitly about managing fuel and the number of remaining laps, making sure the car finished, basically.
Textbook pit wall management in that situation. Makes sense on paper. But this is where Colapinto decided, nope, procedure isn't cutting it right now.
He saw Gasly struggling.
He clearly saw his teammates struggling, maybe acting as a roadblock, and he had Bortoleto right there, breathing down his neck. He felt vulnerable.
And his response over the radio, instant, fiery. It was a massive signal of intent, wasn't it? Mantener nuestras posiciones. Pero es lento.
Which needs almost no translation. Keep our positions. But he is slow. I mean, wow.
He wasn't asking, was he? He was challenging the whole idea, the whole order. He was effectively calling out Gasly's lack of pace, blaming the worn tires.
Total defiance in the moment.
And he didn't hang about negotiating either. Reports describe Colapinto as having basically thrown himself, say Tiro at Gasly, into the braking zone for turn 1.
Yeah, it was a hard move.
A firm, uncompromising move. Clean, by all accounts, but definitely aggressive. And the sources noted there was this palpable sense that tragedy was brewing, se mascò la tragedia, as the two cars got incredibly close.
Nearly touching.
Yeah, this was direct. This was dangerous. A confrontation right there on the asphalt.
And that, regardless of whether Colapinto was right about Gasly's pace or not, that is what immediately triggers the klaxons back on the pit wall and in management.
Because
you just don't ignore a definitive team order in Formula One. Not usually. Especially not one that carries the risk, however small, of a double DNF for a team that's already having a nightmare season. The optics are terrible. The potential cost, huge.
So let's get into the fallout then, because this is where it gets really interesting. The operational structure, personified by the general manager Steve NIELSEN, basically faced off against the political argument for stability, maybe championed by Briatore.
Right. NIELSEN felt he had to react. He issued this surprisingly formal, almost harsh post-race statement. He needed to reassert control, basically.
What did it say?
He emphasized that any instruction from the pit wall is considered definitive. End of story. And what's really crucial here is the timing, you see. This statement comes right after the team's executive advisor, Briatore, has been publicly talking up driver stability.
So NIELSEN's pushing back.
It looks like NIELSEN drawing a line in the sand. He's essentially saying operational obedience, following the procedures, that matters more than any political favor or preference.
And he wasn't subtle about being unhappy.
Right, not at all. NIELSEN stated very clearly that management was disappointed that this did not happen, referring directly to Colapinto not maintaining position. And he confirmed the matter would be reviewed and addressed internally.
Ooh, addressed internally. That sounds ominous.
That's standard corporate speak, isn't it? It means a major dressing down behind closed doors, potentially even a veiled threat about Colapinto's future prospects with the team.
But hang on. If Colapinto turned out to be right about Gasly's pace, and we'll get to that, why would management be so disappointed? Shouldn't they value the driver who saw the problem, saw the rival closing in, and acted decisively?
And that, right there, is the absolute core tension of this whole situation. From management's perspective, the operational risk of crash, wasting precious fuel, fighting each other, potentially damaging components, that risk is seen as far worse than potentially losing P17 to Bortoleto.
Process over immediate position.
Exactly. But Colapinto's defense, which was pretty robust, seemed aimed maybe less at NIELSEN and more at the political audience, perhaps Briatore. He argued, look, I was under heavy attack from Bortoleto. Gasly was acting like an unacceptable drag on our pace because his tires were shot, or he had some other issue.
He didn't back down afterwards, did he?
Not one bit. He was completely unapologetic. Colapinto explicitly stated, I think it was the right thing to do, and this is crucial, it was the best way to defend myself from Bortoleto.
Defend myself. Interesting phrasing.
Very telling. It's self-preservation framed as team defense. I had to save my position from the Sauber, therefore I had to pass my teammate.
And then he kind of doubled down with that almost dismissive comment, didn't he? Saying that because they were fighting for, 16th and 17th, it doesn't make sense to argue about these things.
Yeah, that deflection is massive, isn't it?
It really is.
He's essentially saying, look, your technical procedure, your fuel-saving plan, it's so irrelevant when we're fighting for P17 that I risked my contract to ignore it because my entire career depends on showing speed and racecraft right now. It takes some serious competitive audacity, maybe even arrogance, to say that publicly after being told off by management.
But here's the kicker, right? The validation.
This is the key piece, yeah. The validation from the sources seems pretty clear.
Mm-hmm.
Colapinto's assessment of Gasly's struggles. It appears to have been absolutely correct.
How so?
Because the Sauber, Bortoleto's car, also managed to get past Gasly just a short while after Colapinto made his move, which strongly suggests Gasly really was struggling badly with pace and momentum at that point. Colapinto read the situation accurately, even if he broke the rules to act on it.
And what about Gasly in all this? The guy who got called slow over the radio?
Well, Gasly, the experienced veteran, he seemed to just let it go, mostly. He admitted he was a bit surprised by the overtake, yeah, but then immediately said he chose not to dwell on it further.
Diplomatic.
Very. He confirmed the bigger picture, the technical issue, admitting they were ultimately too slow as a team, and that he personally had really struggled on those soft tires. Ran out of ERS energy early in the stint, he said. So he basically confirmed Colapinto's assessment, indirectly.
So we have the complete picture now, it seems. Team orders were, okay, technically correct for fuel management, for procedure, but practically, they were flawed because Gasly was genuinely struggling. Colapinto made a snap decision based on competitive necessity, what he saw right in front of him. He defied operational management, but was then kind of vindicated by the actual pace situation unfolding on track.
The conflict couldn't be clearer, really. You've got NIELSEN demanding team cohesion, obedience to definitive instructions, even if that means finishing 18th instead of 17th. He values structure, procedure.
Predictability.
Yes. And then you have Colapinto, fighting tooth and nail for his future, possibly feeling empowered by Briatore's rhetoric about stability through performance, arguing that maintaining competitive speed, defending against immediate rivals, that's the primary goal, regardless of the pit wall's carefully laid but ultimately slow plan.
Which brings us right back to that all-important 2026 seat. Colapinto has apparently the political backing of the executive advisor who wants stability, but now he's actively created operational instability. He's earned the direct public disappointment of the general manager.
So who wins out? Does the operational hierarchy, the need for order, prevail? Or does the fact that Colapinto was arguably proven right about the on-track pace situation save him, especially with Briatore in his corner?
What's Colapinto saying now?
For his part, Colapinto is just saying his focus now is purely on learning from it and preparing for the next race in Mexico.
Standard driver deflection, maybe. It's just a phenomenal high-wire act he's performing, isn't it? A real test of where the true power lies in a modern F1 team, especially one under such pressure.
Absolutely.
So when you are fighting right at the very back, just trying to manage fuel, manage tires, basically limp to the finish line, does the driver's instinct, the raw necessity to maintain momentum and show competitive fire, does that override the pit wall's more conservative, maybe procedural concerns?
That really is the question we want to leave you, the listener, with.
Okay.
Where does that stability Briatore talks about truly lie? Is it in absolute, maybe even blind obedience to orders that might be flawed in the heat of the moment? Or is it found in demonstrating that competitive excellence, that raw pace, the guts that Colapinto showed, even if it meant challenging the established system head-on? That decision, whichever way Alpine leans, it won't just affect Franco Colapinto. It could really define the operational philosophy, the very character of this Alpine team moving forward.
Fascinating stuff. Thank you for tuning into this deep dive here in the DRS zone. Don't forget to subscribe, follow us, join the conversation wherever you get your F1 content. We'll catch you on the next lap.